Some truths arrive like thunder loud, sudden, impossible to ignore. Others slip in quietly, like poison in your morning tea, and you only taste the bitterness when it's already too late. For me, it was the second kind. We were at his family home on a Sunday that felt like every other Sunday. The same floral tablecloth, the same crystal glasses his mother polished every week, the same scent of rosemary and garlic drifting from the kitchen. I'd spent nearly 4 years learning how to move through that house without disturbing the air too much. Always polite, always helpful, always smiling, even when the smiles felt borrowed. His mother, Nadia, never raised her voice. She didn't need to. Her disapproval lived in small, precise cuts. A raised eyebrow when I spoke about my job in marketing, how creative. A gentle correction when I reached for the wrong fork. We do it this way here, dear. The way she always asked about my future plans, as if my present one loving her son wasn't valid enough. That afternoon I was carrying a stack of plates to the sink when I heard them in the pantry. The door was ajar. I didn't mean to listen, but voices carry when the house is quiet. Nadia spoke first, her tone low and certain. She's sweet, I'll give her that. But sweet doesn't build a life, Ahmed. She's not from our circle. She doesn't understand how things work here. You'll wake up one day and realize you've settled. I froze. My arms ached from the weight of the china, but I couldn't move. Ahmed exhaled a sound I'd heard 1,000 times when he was tired or cornered. I know, Mom. I've thought about it a lot. She's different. And yeah, sometimes it feels like I'm carrying the whole thing alone. But breaking up, it's not that simple. Different. Carrying the whole thing alone. The words landed like stones in still water, sending ripples through every memory I had of us. Nadia pressed gently. You deserve someone who fits. Someone the family can be proud of. Someone who won't make holidays awkward forever. He didn't defend me. He didn't say I love her enough to make it work. He just murmured, you're probably right. I've been thinking the same thing lately. I backed away silently, placed the plates down without a sound, returned to the table and forced a smile when he came back in. He squeezed my shoulder. Everything okay? Perfect, I lied. That night in our apartment, he fell asleep quickly, his breathing even and peaceful. I lay awake until dawn, replaying the conversation word for word. Every family dinner, where I'd felt like a guest. Every time I'd dressed more conservatively to blend in. Every dream I'd shrunk to fit his mother's vision of the perfect daughter-in-law. By morning the hurt had crystallized into something sharper. Not rage. Not yet clarity. I wasn't going to beg for a place I was never truly welcome in. I was going to show them exactly what they'd lose. The next weeks were a slow, invisible unraveling. I started documenting quietly. Screenshots of group chats where his cousins made joking comments about the outsider. Voice notes he'd left for me that sounded scripted, distant. Texts from his mother suggesting he take some space, or think about what's best long term. And worst of all, his replies, agreeing, placating. Never once saying, she's the best thing in my life. I felt like I was living with a ghost of the man I'd loved. He noticed the shift. You seem off lately, he said one evening while scrolling his phone. I looked at him across the couch. Do I? He shrugged. Mom thinks you're stressed. Maybe work. Of course she did. I was always the problem. I stopped cooking his favorite meals. Stopped asking about his day in detail. Stopped waiting up when he came home late from helping Mom. He didn't fight it, he just filled the silence with more time on his phone. More calls to her, more excuses. The pain was constant, like a low-grade fever. Nights I'd curl into myself wondering why my love hadn't been enough to change their minds. Mornings I'd stare at my reflection and ask, when did I start believing I had to earn belonging? But beneath the heartbreak, something else was growing. Resolve. I wasn't going to disappear quietly so they could pretend I'd never mattered. I began rebuilding in secret. First, finances. I opened a separate account and started transferring small amounts, nothing dramatic. Just enough to feel independent again. Second, support. I reconnected with friends I'd let fade because Ahmed's family is my priority now. They welcomed me back without questions. Third, evidence. I saved everything. Every subtle put down recorded in notes. Every time he'd echoed her doubts. Every photo from family events where I'd been positioned on the edge of the frame. Like an afterthought. I even booked a viewing for a small apartment across town. 1 bedroom, sunlight, mine. He sensed the distance growing. One night he tried to pull me close. I miss us, he whispered. I let him hold me for a moment, then gently moved away. Me too, I said, and I meant it. I missed who he used to be before his mother's voice became louder than mine. The breaking point came when Nadia invited us to her annual garden party, her showcase event. Everyone would be there, relatives, friends, business associates. She'd always used it to parade Ahmed's potential. This year, I knew I'd be the exhibit of what not to choose. I decided that party would be my last appearance in there. I prepared carefully, not for revenge in the loud sense, for truth in the undeniable sense. I created a short slideshow, simple slides, black background, white text, quotes, timestamps, audio clips. Nothing exaggerated, just their own words, played back without filter. I titled it, What You've Said About Me When You Thought I Couldn't Hear. The garden was beautiful, string lights, long tables, laughter floating on the warm evening air. Nadia greeted me with her usual air kiss. So glad you could make it, dear. I smiled. I wouldn't miss it. Halfway through appetizers, while everyone was relaxed and chatting, I asked Ahmed's cousin to connect my phone to the projector they used for old family videos. Just a little surprise, I said sweetly. No one suspected when the screen lit up. The chatter died. Slide 1, Nadia's voice from a recording I'd captured months earlier. She's sweet, but sweet doesn't build a life. She's not from our circle. Slide 2, Ahmed's reply. I know, Mom. I've been thinking the same thing lately. Murmurs rippled through the guests. Slide after slide. Text messages. Group chat snippets. Her suggestions that I was holding him back. His quiet agreements. The jokes at my expense that weren't jokes at all. Then the final slide. A single line in large white text. I loved him enough to stay. He loved his mother's approval more today. I choose me. I didn't speak during the slideshow. I didn't need to. Their own words did the work. When it ended, silence blanketed the garden. Nadia's face was pale. Ahmed looked like he'd been slapped. I turned to them both. My voice was calm, clear. I've spent years trying to belong here. Smiling through the comments? Shrinking to fit the space you allowed me. But love doesn't survive when one person is always apologizing for existing. I looked at Nadia. You won. He agrees with you. But I won't stay where I'm only tolerated. I looked at Ahmed. I deserve someone who chooses me first, not when it's convenient, not when the family approves. Just me, every day. I picked up my small purse. No dramatic storm out, just a quiet walk through the parting crowd behind me. I heard his mother stammering explanations. Relatives whispering. Ahmed calling my name once weakly, then stopping. That night I went home, packed the last of my things, and left the key on the counter with a single note. Thank you for showing me what I don't want. He tried calling for days. His mother sent messages, apologies wrapped in excuses. I didn't respond. Words spread quietly through their circle. Invitations stopped coming for him. Cousins reached out to me privately. We had no idea. We're sorry. An aunt even said, you did what was right. He lost the effortless approval he'd taken for granted. She lost the control she'd wielded so subtly. I moved into my little sunlit apartment. Started therapy. Rediscovered hobbies I'd abandoned. Laughed louder. Dreamed bigger. Looking back, exposing them wasn't about cruelty. It was about refusing to carry their shame anymore. If anyone makes you feel like you must audition for love, stop performing. You are not a guest in your own life. Speak your truth when it's time. Not for their shock, for your peace. Because the most stunning moment isn't when they hear the truth, it's when you finally believe you're worth more than their approval. And walk into a life where you are chosen. Every single day. By yourself first.